All right, guys, this is Mike from the Last Corvette. So I finally got my shore power hooked up to the pontoon. First Power Pro, and I'll show you guys a little snippet of where it is installed inside the pontoon, and we'll talk about it as far as, you know, if I like it or not. What is going on, everybody? This is Mike from the Last Corvette. Today is Sunday. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. I'm closing up for the weekend. Today's Sunday. Actually just had to wait for the rain to stop. I had the cover off overnight and then had to wipe all the seats down and whatnot. But this video is about a couple of things. Fixing my outboard. This is a Mercury outboard charging system. Luckily it was an easy fix. I'll explain that. And also I managed to run shore power now into the pontoon. The shore power cable just runs along the dock and then into the boat and then into the compartment where I have my First Power Pro 5x2 marine charger. It's in the same compartment as my amplifier and my Perca switch. I did have to drill a single hole to take the leads out from the charger itself to the two batteries that I have, one here and then one there. So this pontoon does have a dual battery setup. I'll kind of show you what I have going on here. So this is a 50-foot. This is a marine grade extension cable. It's about $100 for 50 foot. It's a much smaller gauge than my neighbor's. He has the center console because he has 4 batteries, and these cables here are a couple $100. But since I'm only running one thing, this is a setup here, 230 amp breakers. This here is a 30 amp twist lock plug as well. Very common for marine applications. My neighbor's, my cable, 2 breakers. I also got my hose here, so now I can wash down the boat, I can wash down the live well, and let me explain how I got to this point, even though I had this marine charger partially installed in the boat for the last like 2 months.
Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, July 21st. It's like 3 weeks later. The original portion of this video that you guys just watched, and of course, if you made it this far, I thank you, was 4th of July weekend. And let me explain. So it's time to wrap this up and kind of go through my troubleshooting process, also the install. I did a little walk around, showed you guys the shore power cable running from the electrical box at the marina into the pontoon, obviously into the First Power Pro 5x2 onboard marine battery charger, and then out to battery 1 and battery 2. This pontoon does have 2 batteries. So once again, First Power Pro 5x2, I will include a link in the description. I wanted to wait to finish this video because I don't link anything unless I buy it, unless I use it, and of course unless I like it. And this marine battery charger is an amazing value, number one. Number two, it has all of your options as far as battery types, also different options to help you charge the batteries as well. So I think it's a great buy, it's a great item. Don't listen to me if you don't want to. Just hop on Amazon and look at all the reviews that are you know, written about this particular 5x2. And 5x2 means it's a 2-bank 5 amp per battery. That's the rate of charge. So truth of the matter here is it's my fault. I should have never not fully installed this battery charger. And step 2, I should have diagnosed and shot the whole, you know, non-charging away from the dock, or no charging away from the dock. That was on me, right? And I knew about the charging issues away from the dock. I actually did, but I kept putting it on the back burner. I had 2 brand new batteries when I first got the pontoon. They were fully charged, and literally for 2 months. So May, June, and then into July. So let's say, yeah, 2 months, because it was delivered early May. I essentially just used this pontoon straight off batteries. I wasn't charging them at the dock, and it wasn't receiving charge away from the dock. Now, it's not a regular use. If I was, you know, regularly using this pontoon, it would be dead probably within a couple of weeks. This was just weekends. I was running the amplifier, and the last time out, Yes, I was literally dead in the water, and there were major signs. About a week and a half to 2 weeks prior to that, I killed battery 1. It was flat. So I said, oh, okay, next weekend I'll fix it. So, 2 weeks go by, and I'll never forget, I went out to the marina to start the pontoon, or to start the Mercury outboard, and I actually had to use position all, which is taking battery 1 and 2, combining the batteries under emergency situations. And I was like, man, we should definitely not go out. I should definitely finish this install and figure out the charging situation. It didn't happen. We went out, both batteries died, and I had a slow crank, not enough to actually, start the outboard. Luckily for me, I always carried Towboat US, so I could have just asked for a tow or a jump, or I was lucky enough to be around a bunch of boats. Obviously, it's a holiday, it's a sandbar, and I want to say 1 or 2 boats literally next to me, anchored next to me, they had jump boxes. So we were able to jump one of the batteries. I got the outboard started, and off we went. So I got to the marina, got everyone unloaded, and the next day I started finishing the install of the onboard charger, right? So I made the cable, bought the 30 amp twist plug, which is very common, and ran everything into the pontoon, ran the leads out to the batteries, got that finished up, and then let them charge overnight. Once they were charged overnight, they were topped off, I double checked them with my voltmeter or my multimeter. I started to focus in on no charge away from the dock. Now, when I originally did a sea trial, we noted 3 items, that needed, we'll say, attention. One of them was no power going to the head unit, which was a blown fuse, and you guys will see somewhat of a fuse trail here. Number 2 was the live well pump not working. It was just seized up. I wasn't worried about it. I'm like, I don't really see myself using a live well too many times throughout the year, and I'm like, I'll take care of it when I can. And number 3, that was the gas gauge. So the sending unit inside the gauge was floating around. So essentially, it was gas logged. And the little float switch, this is a vertical post, 15-inch post, 23-gallon onboard tank. It was as they call it, waterlogged or fuel logged. So it sat for a long time without moving around, and absorbed fuel. And what it was doing is it would either work, or most of the time it was just drop back to E. So that was noted. When I took it on the sea trial, I looked at all the gauges. I was more concerned about the outboard going for the RPM range and doing what it's supposed to do, shifting out of gear. All that was fine, and I did glance at all the gauges. It was a very cold, misty day, windy. But when I took delivery of the boat, they pushed me off, right? So I was going from a public launch over to the marina where it sits now. I noticed that my voltmeter was showing static, meaning that 12.8, let's say 13 volts, whatever, somewhere around there. And it shouldn't. Under power, you should be well over 13 volts. And then, as you feed it RPM, you should, peg right around 14.1, 14.4 volts, something along those lines. That wasn't happening. So like I said in the beginning, I did note that, you know what, it could be the gauge, probably not, because it goes from 0 and it shows proper voltage, or it could be a regulator rectifier issue, which actually it was. So after charging the batteries, came back to the boat, double checked both batteries, bank 1, bank 2, all good, all charged. Started the outboard, obviously with the battery charger disconnected, double checked the batteries, no change. So outboard is not outputting the voltage back to the batteries. And I'm gonna try to keep it somewhat simple, kind of dummy it down. So you have a flywheel with magnets around the flywheel on the inside. You have a stator there underneath the flywheel, and essentially as your flywheel rotates around the stator, creates a field. And there are 2 separate, I'll just call them circuits, right? Number 1 is responsible for, running your engine. So that's your coil, right? Making power to the coils so you have spark. The second portion of your stator is responsible for your charge. And normally when stators go bad, they'll just short out. I do have a history for this particular outboard, and believe it or not, the trigger and the stator and the regulator rectifier was replaced on this boat about 10 years ago, because it sat in storage for 5 years prior to me purchasing it. So I kind of knew that. But the first thing that you always want to look at is your regulator rectifier, right? What that does is takes AC current from the stator, from the charge side, converts it over to DC, and then sends it out to charge your batteries, or directly right to your batteries. I had one on, we'll say on speed dial on Amazon, but 9 out of 10 times, if there's a short, and the reason I'm bringing up a short, I told you guys about a blown fuse. The head unit wasn't receiving power. That was a blown fuse. I replaced it. When I started looking at my regulator rectifier, luckily for me, this particular model does have a 25 amp fuse. I started checking all the fuses, right? There's a main fuse. Obviously that one was fine, because if that was blown, it wouldn't even be able to start the outboard. But check that fuse, and sure enough, it was blown. So to me, it seems that somebody, previous owner, the Marine, or whoever, they flip-flop the main power leads, you know, negative on positive, positive on negative, probably turn the battery switch on, and probably, more than likely, try to turn the engine over. Obviously, it wouldn't, so they turned the ignition key on to run position, and that was it. So it blew a fuse, but there's another typical model which doesn't have a fuse, and if that happens, and you don't have a fusible link, 9 out of 10 times you will have to replace the regulator rectifier. It will just basically fry itself, so, or not work properly. That's another reason why you should never jump start outboards. Yes, I did it because I had no other choice. Plus, I already had a blown fuse, but it's there for a reason, right? It's there to protect from, we'll say, load, and also from, you know, having like a dead short or a short condition in general. So anyway, got that fuse replaced, fired up the outboard, and sure enough, my voltmeter went up to 14 volts, started charging the batteries. I double checked them once again with a voltmeter, and all is good now. Now I'm charging away from the dock, I'm charging at the dock, and that's how it's supposed to be. But once again, comment below, let me know if you guys want to learn more about this whole voltage issue. I do have a couple of videos coming out about my Polaris four-wheeler. I did make some videos about that earlier. We'll see in the late spring, summer. Putting new tires on it, also going to work on four-wheel drive system, and replace the carburetor, and then also, hopefully, fingers crossed, I finally got my front and rear brake system all figured out. We'll see. And I still need to finish bleeding the brakes properly. I was bleeding them actually by myself. So in the next video, you guys will see just that. Talk to you later.